I'd like to welcome everyone again. We'll start the June 2nd Dawson County Board of Commissioners voting session. If we can start with a roll call. Commissioner Dooley, Fawcett, and Satterfield are here, and Commissioner Gaines is with us on the phone. Next, if y'all stand with me for the invocation and pledge. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord, and we thank you for all your many blessings. And we just ask for your wisdom and discernment as we're making choices for the county, and that it benefits the people of the county, and most of all, it glorifies you in everything we do. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any announcements tonight? All right, no announcements. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes. We'll have the minutes for the work session held on May 19th, 2022. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second, I'm trying to get on the right page. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. It passes 4-0. Minutes of the voting session held on May 19th, 2022. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes 4-0.
I want to thank Kristen for the jam up good minutes. These were murder, weren't they? They were pretty hard. They were hard. But I mean, you got it all in there. It's
Thank you.
good.
I appreciate it.
Yes, it's good.
Next, we have the approval of the agenda with 3 changes. We have addition of item number 4, the single bathroom for Rock Creek Park Splash Pad Pavilion. Item number 5, FY 2022 Legacy Link Contract Addendum number 2. And item number 6, intergovernmental agreement between the city of Dawsonville and Dawson County for the distribution of the lost tax. Is there a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the agenda as modified.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please vote. That passes 4-0. Do we have anybody that has signed up for public comment?
No, sir.
All right, moving on to the alcohol license. We have a new alcohol license, retail package sale of beer and wine. Hey. Oh, no, you're good.
We have a new business license for the Silver City Chevron.
Okay,
It is an established business. It's just changing owners. He has submitted all paperwork and payment and passed his background check.
okay. There any questions?
No red flags, no.
All right, thank you. All right. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. And that passes 4-0. Next, we'll move on to the zoning portion of the meeting. I'm going to go ahead and read the zoning rules. The planning director will present the application and the recommendations of the planning commission. We will then hear from the applicant. And we'll then we'll open the hearing to the public and then hear from those who are in favor of the application. And then we'll hear from those who are opposed to the application. Each person wishing to speak will be allotted 3 minutes per zoning guideline. Anyone who speaks will need to sign in and give us your name and address. Also, if anyone has donated $250 or more to any candidate, you will need to fill out the form stating so. All right, have ZA 22-13. Dawson County request to rezone TMP L 13-081 and 114-033 from CHB and RA to RMF and RS3 for the purpose of developing 55 units of multifamily and 84 units of single-family residential. Have the planning director speak.
Good evening. This is 59 acres of currently zoned residential agricultural property. It is located within the future land use designation of planned residential community, which calls for a basic mixed use of residential. It is in your backup and on the screen there is a copy of the concept plan, and what the proposal is to rezone 16 acres to residential multifamily for a townhouse product, and then basically to the east of the creek to zone that 43 plus acres to RS3 for a total project of 2.33 units per acre. There's some amenity tracks, there's some enhanced buffers from the creeks and streams, as you can see on the plan. The access along Elliott in the back is limited to fire and emergency only. It is not access for general traffic. The primary access for this project is on Highway 53. In your backup also is a copy of recommended stipulations, Exhibit B, that we've hammered out for the development, and staff is supportive of the request.
Okay, would you mind just reading the stipulations for the record and where people
Thank you.
here and at home can hear them?
There's
And
some,
and the operative word is hammered out.
Yeah.
yes.
Is that the truth? I'm telling you, years of hammering out.
Yeah.
Yeah, take my word for it.
There shall be a maximum of 139 total lots. There shall be a minimum of 23 acres of open space. The property shall be developed in compliance with the concept plan attached as Exhibit A. Construction on the site is going to be creatively arranged so that the total average gross density does not exceed 2.3 units per acre. The owner shall dedicate a 15-foot right-of-way along Elliott Road. A 50-foot buffer along Elliott Road shall be graded and replanted to include a 6-foot berm along Elliott Road. A single emergency access shall be required along Elliott Road, which shall be gated, grassed, load-bearing, and approved for emergency vehicles. An undisturbed natural vegetative buffer shall be maintained for 50 feet, measured horizontally on both banks of state waters as measured from the top of the bank, except for any utility crossings. An additional setback from the creek for 25 feet measured horizontally beyond the undisturbed buffer, wherein all impervious cover shall be prohibited except for stormwater management facilities. A 50-foot undisturbed buffer shall be maintained along the northern boundary of the property. A 25-foot graded and replanted buffer shall be maintained along the northern and eastern boundary of the Dollar General parcel. A 50-foot graded and replanted buffer shall be maintained along the subject's property western boundary with the Foley family parcel. A common mailbox, area shall be provided and must include a roofed area to provide shelter to patrons from the elements and provide a fixed trash can or recycling bin within the covered area. Townhomes shall have a minimum heated area of 1,000 square feet. The plans are subject to review by the Georgia Department of Transportation, and that's to take in any impacts on State Road 53 and or right of way. And the plans are subject to review by the Georgia Mountains Regional Center because they triggered the DRI threshold. The single family attached wall finishes shall at a minimum be constructed with accents of brick or stone on front facades, and the balance of homes may be the same or fiber cement siding. Number 18 was added more recently, but I'm told that there is no longer a request for that condition, so I won't read number 18 into the record.
Okay,
Why is there? Paula?
I've just been told by the applicant they do not need that condition. I mean, I'm happy to read it, but
yeah, let's go ahead
Yeah,
and, let's go ahead
okay.
and read that one.
a graded and replanted buffer of 50 feet in width shall be installed on the subject property along its common boundary line with tax parcel L 113-088, currently owned by Stanley Denard.
I can speak to that.
Dinner, okay, speak.
So Mr. Dinner reached out to me, sent me an email and asked about potentially a planted buffer in between his property on the backside of his property. And so worked with through Angie and council, and I reached out to opposing council, and they were willing to do the buffer. And then when I went back to Stan, just wanted to make sure that's truly what he wanted, because in the original plan, it's an undisturbed buffer. And I had not seen, what it looks like, what the vegetation already existed that was there. And so just wanted to make sure that he knew what he was asking for, that they would, tear all that existing stuff out and come back and plant new stuff. And he responded back that he preferred the undisturbed buffer so that it take out any existing trees. So at that point, I reached back out to Angie and just told her that we can take that back out, but did appreciate the offer by the opposing council to try to work with him on that, but he does not want to have that.
Okay,
So he's satisfied with just like it is.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
okay,
Okay.
all right. Do you have any questions for the planning director? Thank you. Next, we will hear from the applicant.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Joshua Scoggins. I'm with the law firm of Miles, Hansford and Talent. I represent the property owner, Dawson Forest Holdings LLC. The application before you this evening is the product of a proposed litigation settlement that we hope, if approved, will resolve over 4 years of litigation between the property owner and the county. As Commissioner Fawcett said, this has been hammered out between the parties for a long time, and we've worked very hard on both sides to come up with conditions and a proposed plan that we hope everybody can be happy with. As Ms. Farrell said, we're asking for a split rezoning of this tract from basically RA to a townhome zoning up on 53. And as you transition back toward the back to an RS3 for a conservation subdivision. So it's not just a standard RS3. It's actually designed to promote the preservation of additional open space. As she said, this is a 59.5 acre tract. We're proposing 55 townhome lots, again, to the east of the creek, and I'll show you that in just a minute, with 84 single-family detached lots to the west of the creek. Just for everybody's, to jog everyone's memory, the original rezoning request back in 2018 asked for 177 single-family detached lots. So we're reducing that total number by 38 units. We're also proposing 23 acres of open space within that conservation subdivision. And the density has been significantly reduced from the original request down to 2.33 units an acre. Here's the plan again, that you can sort of see that creek that runs north to south there through the middle of the tract. Everything to the left of that creek is the townhome pod. Everything to the right of that creek is the single family. We have agreed, as Ms. Farrell read, to 17 zoning conditions, and I have put those up there. I know they may be a little difficult to see, but we've capped the total number of units at 139. So that's down 38 units from the original proposal. We have also agreed to minimum amounts of open space, a maximum density. We have agreed to dense landscaping and berming along Elliott Road. That dark line that you see along the far right-hand side along Elliott Road, that is a 50-foot wide graded replanted buffer with a 6-foot berm along Elliott Road. We've also agreed at the request of the county to gate and not pave that section that connects to Elliott Road. It's going to be grass and load bearing so that we can have emergency vehicles come in, but traffic will not be able to use it coming in and out of the neighborhood. We've agreed to additional dense landscaping adjacent to the Dollar General property as well as the Foley Farm. You can see those on the far left where those dark lines are, to screen those properties from the proposed townhomes. Make sure I'm not leaving anything off here. We've also agreed, and it's not in the conditions, but it's on the site plan, the minimum house size for the single family is 2,000 square feet. The townhomes are in the zoning conditions with their minimum square footage. We anticipate these houses, the townhomes starting in the high 2s and the single family starting in the 3s. So we believe this will be a benefit to the area. Certainly will not detract from property values. With that, again, just in summary, I think this is a much better plan personally than the original plan that was submitted. This is a better concept that better utilizes the natural topography in the open space areas. Keeps the development out of the buffers, out of the creek buffers, out of the ponds, lakes, all of that. Again, we're reducing the number of homes significantly. And again, this will save the taxpayers and my client a lot of money by resolving this litigation. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has. Thank you so much for your time.
What kind of vegetation will the buffers be?
They will be planted in accordance with the county's buffer standards. That may be a better question for Ms.
That's the
Farrell.
400 that.
It's,
It's our
overlay.
tree ordinance.
We'll get a landscape buffer plan from the applicant. We'll probably look for over 40% evergreen to make sure it's a year-round buffer.
Yeah. Mhm, mhm.
There any other questions for the applicant?
No, I just want to comment on that because, and I've said this a million times, but I've seen landscaping and you can tell it's just something that somebody just threw up and did, and it doesn't even look like it belongs here. And it's like, oh, well, if I have to do this, I'm going to throw that. And it just doesn't, so if it can just be thick and lush and so they won't see each other.
the goal is to make it visually impervious. These
So
are
now
much
that-
wider landscape strips than the county's used to seeing. I mean, these are 50 feet wide,
Yeah, uh-huh.
not your standard 25.
Yes, that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we will open the hearing to the public. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone here to speak in favor? Seeing none, is there anyone here to speak in opposition to the application?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Tony Passarello. I reside at 180 Sunset Drive. First of all, I wanted to congratulate the progress that has been made and say that I think the overall plan has much improved. My concern is of the construction and the impact on the existing streams in Lake Lanier. Those of us who live in these coves that will be affected by this development experienced quite a impact as far as silt runoff and stormwater mismanagement when the Kroger was originally built. That cove basically is not usable now. And this particular property backs up and has about 280 feet of frontage to Lake Lanier. Our request is to add stipulations to mitigate the silt, stormwater runoff, and construction disturbance to attachment A. This is to include remedy, restoration, and penalties to the settlement. Also to increase the public works monitoring and publications of findings of the affected property owners and the Army Corps of Engineers. My potential additions would include to amend the public works erosion and sediment review policy currently for Dawson County and the EPD. And as Sharon mentioned, this qualifies for that particular control policy. I would propose to increase the undisturbed buffers from 25 to 50 feet for all streams and from 50 to 100 feet adjacent to Lake Lanier. Second, to increase the NPDES fees from $400 to $150 per disturbed acre. Next, to prohibit disposal of concrete truck or mixer washout within 500 feet of the state stream and or Lake Lanier. And lastly, to establish an increased inspection by county enforcement authority for all erosion, stormwater management, silt runoff protection methods, and that frequency to be negotiated as part of the settlement. Question?
Thank you. Is there anyone else speaking opposition? If you'll just write your name on the paper and state your name and address for us.
My name is Ryan Leach, and I'm at 866 Elliott Road. I am actually the second property to the bottom of the development. Tonight was the first time that I've seen the proposal, and I do appreciate the developers wanting to put a barrier between Elliott Road and the homes. However, us that are just below this property line, we have a view of the lake and we're going to have view of these houses. And I would like to see the developer add an additional barrier on that side of the property, so where we don't have to see the homes that are there. I spent a lot of time last year rebuilding this house, and I didn't even know that this was a proposal. And you know, I want to be able to enjoy the lake. I appreciate Mr. Passarello, I think that's how you pronounce it. Okay, the silt and the water runoff, because that water runoff will go directly into the cove our dock is on. And we bought this house as a house for our family for generations. The other concern I have, and I don't know if this is the proper place to bring it up, is the public safety. I know that fire station number 2 that's right down there already seems to be running ragged. I can hear their sirens all day long. And I've talked to some of the employees there, and they said that they are busy as can be. And I know there's townhomes going across the street from that station, and these townhomes and these houses. And I don't know if there's an additional personnel being added to that, but I want to make sure that myself and my neighbors are protected for public safety, with the addition of all these homes and residences.
No, thank you. Is there anyone else to speak in opposition? Please state your name and address and write it on the paper for the record, please.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. This is the second time that this is coming before the board, this rezoning for this land. And I do believe that the plan that you guys have negotiated with the developer is significantly better plan than we had last time. I think it's probably reflected in the number of people in the room here. With that being said, I don't really, I won't say that I'm against it, but I don't have all of the specifics and for stipulations that Tony Passarella had. But to me, my two biggest concerns is the settlement. We did see when what we call the old Kroger was built, that several of the landowners that were on the lake lost their lake property. And I'm really concerned about the sediment control. In addition to that, you have the sewer pump station that's, I can't tell because of the drawings, but it looks almost like 50, 60 feet from the lake. And if there's a failure, what protections are there to protect the lake from being fouled from a sewer spill? And I put those in terms of questions, not really terms of opposing the development, but I just want to make sure that those are being addressed and there's a plan for those. And so that we don't have sediment going into the lake. The lake is, we have, in Dawson County, we have very limited shoreline and we don't need to lose any. Then you have the sewer pump station right there. I mean, sitting right on top of the lake. What protections are there to protect the lake from being fouled at some point in time in the future? Those are my two concerns. I appreciate the opportunity to express those. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else speak in opposition? If you would, state your name and address for the record and write it on the sheet there too, please.
I am Rhonda Evans and I own the property at 268 Elliott Road and 352 Elliott Road. Mostly just have a question on the single family homes that was stated that they're 2,000 square feet. Are they one level or two levels?
Yeah,
2 level.
So they'll be 2 stories. So that's, that adds some height. So like when you have a 50-foot, and I'm a little confused about removing the 18 condition because I know Stan Dennard said he wants the undisturbed. So does that mean the property, my buffer would be undisturbed as well?
There's a 50-foot buffer, that undisturbed buffer that runs across that
All
north,
the
all the
way.
way from the Elliott Road buffer, all the way up to the, I guess it'd be the east property line. And it's undisturbed. And Stan had talked to us about doing planting some stuff, but he didn't want them to tear it out, according to what Chris says, to plant anything. So it would be undisturbed buffer.
So the 18 was initially that it would be replanted.
For just
So
just
now
where
it's
Stanley's
not.
house
Gotcha.
was at, yeah.
yes.
Okay, I understand that. But yes, I agree with everyone else opinion that this is a much better plan and, I appreciate their efforts. I just concerned about the 2-story, the height of that going down that road. A buffer is not gonna really buff that part. Thank you.
Anyone else speak in opposition? Yes, sir. Please just state your name and address and fill it out on the sheet there too, please.
Yes, Jim Hambright, 904 Elliott Road. What sign this?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me the price range of the multifamily and
I believe he said it was 203, starting in 200 for the multifamily and 300 for the single family. Is that correct? High twos and high threes.
okay, because those, as I read the plan, those townhouses are 1,000 square feet. Is that right?
Well, that's what it said on this, but
Yeah.
you said something different. The Scoggins, is that,
The minimum size.
Oh, okay, minimum, okay.
Yeah, minimum.
All right, that's right.
But you know, if a townhouse 2-story, you got the stairwell, which takes away livable space, usable space. And I'm afraid that this project is gonna generate more costs for the county in terms of police, school, fire, than it's gonna generate in taxes. And I am opposed to it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else to speak in opposition? Anyone else? All right, we'll close the hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
I guess, can we question staff again?
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to answer some of the questions of the people out there. And on the runoffs and washout areas, I know a lot of that code's changed.
Definitely.
You can't just wash out stuff in a vacant property or ditch. They gotta make a pond that's got a membrane in the bottom of it, hay and silt fence around it. And once
Correct.
it's all washed out, they come pick it up as one unit and haul it off. It doesn't leave that pond. I know each house now has to have a sediment to catch sediment. You can't just have it on site at one pond. You gotta create a pond for each structure.
Correct.
There's a lot of EPD and EPA rules that's changed.
Since
And
Kroger.
hopefully, talking about that position we talked about earlier today, we'll monitor a lot of that around any waterways. If I'm not mistaken, county manager, just 3 rows or 2 rows of silt fence plus another hay bale and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a lot of checks we're going, and hopefully, if it's approved, it will stay on top of that.
Yeah, the rules have definitely changed
The
since
rules have
they were
changed.
clearing ground for Kroger. Even Dawson County updated its code in 2015 regarding soil and erosion. I know just out of my department, I have a full-time person doing soil.
Full-time
erosion,
person doing that now.
doing residential, and it keeps us busy to keep up with the state rules and coordinate with the local NRCS, as well as DNR and DEP. And there's a lot of state level involved with a project like this. And we'll keep on top of it.
Are there any more questions for staff or?
Well, it was a lot for me to absorb what Tony said. I'm not sure I got all your concerns, but I know they were valid.
Well, they're trifurcated in that because of the size of the development, some of them are state regulations, some of them are EPA, and some of them are local ordinances that Dawson County has.
Mhm.
Because this property is unique in its exposure to streams as well as Lake Lanier, what we were proposing is to enhance those current ones, to be able to recognize the impact, the potential impact of the development of Lanier. That was the reason that we asked that some of the provisions added to the state ordinance.
And you were saying all this has changed a lot since that old Kroger was built. Is that what you were talking about?
Some of, yeah, the last year. the
I
last
mean,
update.
I don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize the water. I mean, not at all. And so I didn't know if it was stricter now. And if people are really on top of that, and at what stages do they check all these developments,
There's some very good regulations that the county has. And the access to inspection. But the results are not published. So we're asking is to add a provision that those inspections maintain the same frequency, but publish the results of the public can see what the outcome is.
So that goes back to staff, is that,
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I was going to say, is that administratively, we can do that. I certainly appreciate and understand what Mr. Pestrel is talking about.
I do too.
And so administratively, we can go out there
Check
and
that.
inspect. I think it is important to note, though, that while we follow the state guidelines, and there's only so much we can do at that point,
I know.
we also have the local ordinances that do that as well. However, when we have these torrential downpours that we get and everything, there is provisions in the state regulations that don't allow for the BMPs to, or do allow in the BMPs, which is the basic management principles. You can't hold them to that standard. So to sit here and say that there's not going to be any runoff or that those events that occur will completely eliminate any of that would not be fair. So what I can commit, staff standpoint is that administratively, we can put some extra measures in there and controls and make sure that we're following and enforcing and overseeing those methods that are stated.
What-
A little bit more, because of the uniqueness of the property and the slope at the back of the property parcel, give you a little bit more cushion to try and mitigate before it becomes an issue.
I mean, that would be up to the
Developer.
board. We've got the settlement agreement here in front of us. And if that's something that y'all want to entertain, we would have to speak with.
Yeah, and this gentleman, what was your name? Leach?
Yes.
Well, you're like, he's talking about his view. And I just wonder if there's something that we can do about that. And what we tried to do with this, and like I said, it's been 4 years of this. So we've tried our best to mitigate the damages. And I hate to even use the word damage, but it is. And I hate for somebody to buy their house and spend all this money on it and say, this is my forever home and I won't pass it to this. And then you have these views, and I don't know what all is really possible, but I mean, I want it, and I don't live there, but I want it, I guess mitigate's the only word I can come up with. I just don't want people to just be miserable in the homes that they built and they bought. And my loyalty is to those who are already here. So, I mean, I'm Tony threw a wrench. I'm just kidding, but he came up with all this and all these others. And to me, your comments do make a difference. I do listen. I do take notes. And this is just not a formality. I want something to come out of it. So I don't know, since we've been at this so long, can we say, let's give us time to look at all these, consider what's been said here. But y'all may already have it set in your mind, but it's set some stuff off for me.
I mean, that would be, if that's what the board wants to do. I mean, we could table it for 2 weeks and then see if that's what if that's the pleasure of the board.
What
To-
is Chris is Chris still on?
Can I ask
Chris.
council something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know we closed the hearing, but can we put that picture back up?
What?
I mean, I was asking council,
What you doing?
I want to see where that one
We
gentleman's
can,
Okay.
property is.
Yes. Delete.
Is it okay if we put that back up?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Is that?
Yeah,
I don't see
Yeah,
why
okay.
not.
yeah, I mean,
Part
I
of the
think, yeah, we
hearing.
can.
okay, that's what I was just asking.
We just can't open it back up to the public. Just, we've already had the public comment.
Is this the one you want or the other?
Well, the other one, I just want to see where that gentleman's
The plan.
House
the
was.
site
Okay,
plan.
not-
Yeah,
right here.
that's it. Okay, where did you say yours was?
Oh, wait.
Oh,
Thanks, Matt.
The green one, I
I
said.
know, I'm
yeah.
working on it. Hold on.
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
L13.
0 what? 7.5?
075,
Well, I don't see. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah.
right there.
Yeah. Okay. I see. I see.
And the lakes,
He said.
so they're not
houses-
developing though,
I don't. see
facing the
that.
lake towards you.
Yeah, I don't see that's gonna obstruct his view.
But their property does.
Well, this is a difficult picture to see because there's so many trees there. But we have a view, it's a small view of the lake, so we have a view of the lake. My concern was where the line, red line is to the, looking at the picture just above our property. That's where this whole traffic is gonna be. And those homes, the back of those homes are gonna be facing our house. If they're gonna be 2 stories.
Yeah.
I just think we got some more stuff to consider if we can do that, if the judge and everybody will allow. You know.
I have a question for council. Because of the uniqueness of the situation with it being a settlement agreement, is there flexibility now that we've gone through the process of a public hearing
That's right.
and heard some additional comments from the public?
Mhm.
I would assume that we do have the ability, there's no particular shot clock. Obviously, we want to get it done as soon as possible, but we also want to take the time to mitigate any additional information that's come up tonight in this conversation. Do we have the ability to take an additional 2 weeks to vet out some of these additional concerns with opposing counsel that has worked with us over the last several years to try to come up with a plan that resolves a lot of the issues that have been brought up? So do we have the ability to do that is my question to council.
You can table your decision to have time to address these final concerns and to the extent you want to ask the developer's representative to answer any questions, he's prepared to do that today. And if that satisfies the group to the extent that you're ready to make a decision today, then you certainly can, but if not, you would have the option to table the decision.
So since we closed the hearing, can he still come up and talk?
You can come up and answer questions that you have. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good. And I want to get it worked out because I mean, I think that's what we're here for.
I
So,
know it.
To address the concerns about the stream buffers, the way, the sediment and all of that, I want to reemphasize the fact that this is a conservation subdivision where we have removed all of our lots from the stream buffers. We're not required by law to do that. We can run these lots all the way to the core line, through every stream buffer, through every lake. The reason we did this plan was to take the property owner and every homeowner's ability to bother those buffers away from them by keeping that property in the HOA. We already have enhanced buffers along all of these streams and along the core line. And as Ms. Farrell said earlier, the sedimentation rules are night and day compared to what they were just a few
Is
years
that right?
ago.
Okay.
As somebody who litigates a lot of those cases, I can tell you that is not something that is played around with by developers now.
Mhm.
There's millions of dollars in liability hanging on that, and they spend a lot of money to avoid having that problem. As far as Mr., I think his last name is Leach, his parcel is actually one tract removed down from the bottom of that
Mhm.
area right there.
Mhm.
He's backing up to our open space, and we have 3 lots that don't even encroach into the 50-foot buffer. So he's actually, it appears, several hundred feet away from the closest home. I don't know how we increase beyond several hundred feet. I mean, it's, you know, I just don't see how we do that. We really would appreciate the board acting on this tonight, because we do believe we have addressed especially the environmental issues, the visual issues. There is not another plan that's going to do that better than this one, because again, if you had bigger lots, they'd be running through those streams, I can assure you. And those homeowners would be in there cutting down every tree and putting swing sets in them and doing everything else that we don't want them doing. So.
Can you put the other drawing back with the site plan? So on this drawing that we're looking at, is that the property line? That I can't make out where we're talking about, where you're talking about the extra couple hundred feet buffer already.
If you look at the far
Yeah.
right-hand corner where it comes down to a point,
He might.
there is a 50-foot buffer there. There is open space there. There is a lot below us that is not our property. And then there's Mr. Leach's property below that.
Okay.
I don't know if they see that better or not.
Because it's hard to tell. I'm just trying
It is.
to see. Because his property's over here, and I think this is further than it looks like it is here. Yeah, see, there's not any houses right in here. Yeah. Yeah, because there's a master amenity area that's right there, but there wouldn't be any houses directly across from right there. I can see good enough on this, yeah.
You see-
Yeah, I
you
can-
wanna see this? or-
I can see it on this right here.
Okay, okay. Yeah, this is a lot better. Yeah. You wanna see that, Ken?
All right, well, what's the pleasure of the board?
Tony, did he address any of your concerns? Or are you satisfied about the rules are so much stricter, and does that help you? Excuse-
The public hearing is already closed. so
Oh, we
we're
can't talk.
Right.
Oh, well, shoot, I don't like that. We can't hash it out.
A lot of us just saw this less than a week ago, because it's been under closed legal negotiation, so none of the property owners got to see this. So we're asking some additional work on some of the stipulations. The board needs to go over this.
Mr. Vice
Excuse
Chairman,
me.
just all due respect.
Yeah.
The public hearing's
Yeah,
closed. I would,
the public
I would
hearing's
discourage
closed.
further public comment on
Okay.
the matter.
Well, I know we want a decision, but the rest of the board, have y'all got all this in your mind? Have you taken all this in? What you've heard, enough to make a decision? Tim, do you?
Yes, on some of the concerns, yes. I think the county manager addressed some of it, and one thing I'd ask is, you follow up on that, and if we need to get a report out, we can put it out on the website or whatever. I can have
Yeah.
it. I mean, it's public information. If we go out and do an inspection or address a violation, I mean, somebody could find out about it anyway, so we could
Make
we
it,
could make it public,
make it easily accessible.
right?
Um, And then, I mean, I think, I think we've, as far as the buffers go, that's one thing we went back and forth with a lot with the
we have.
buffers. And I think we've got all the buffers that we can get. And
Chris, got anything? Is Chris still on with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I think, having the opposing counsel address the runoff situation, I think there's a lot of validity in that response and the fact that it's restricted a lot more. I don't know if we can memorialize the county manager's idea to ensure that staff is addressing it or looking at it at a greater depth than they typically would, just because of the proximity it is to Lake Lanier. I think we just have it on the record here in our conversations. And then the gentleman that has where the house is at, I can see that. And it does look like that it's pretty well shielded from the development itself. And the reality is we've seen multiple renditions of this from where we started, and there was a much, much worse impact. We've come a very long way over the last 4 years to get to the point where we're at now. And a lot of times, not everybody sees what goes into making that until we get to the, in a negotiation standpoint, till we get to a product that is where both sides, nobody leaves happy. I don't think the developer's fully happy because they wanted more lots. And we're not fully happy because we don't want any lots. But it comes down to, where's the middle ground? And I think that both sides have come to the table to try to mitigate the concerns that both of us have as much as possible. And I do believe that this is the best plan that by far that we have seen and been a part of. And the concerns that have been addressed tonight sounds like they have been addressed by council as well as staff, as well as opposing counsel.
what's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion that we approve the settlement as presented with the stipulations that have been read into the record.
Motion from Commissioner Gaines,
Second.
second from Commissioner Satterfield. Any further discussion? Please vote. That passes 4-0. Let me find my agenda here. Moving on to new business, have a consideration to move forward with a public hearing for an ambulance billing policy update. And this is we just have to make a decision to move to a public hearing for the policy update.
I'll make a motion to approve going to public hearing for the ambulance billing policy update.
Motion from Commissioner Satterfield,
Second.
second from Commissioner Fawcett. Please vote, or any discussion? Please vote. That passes 4-0. Item number 2, we have consideration of board appointments. Do y'all want to take these separate or take them as one, or?
Take them
Let's
all.
do them all together.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and read them. We have a Department of Family and Children's Services. We have Randy Hartness replacing Jennifer Wright, term June 2022 through March 2025. We have the Georgia Mountain Regional Commission, private sector appointee, Kevin Harrett, appointee term July 2022 through June 2023. And third, we have the Long Range Planning Committee. Jim Bradley replacing Dick Sheriff. And those are the three appointments that we'll consider at once. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve all these board appointments. I make a motion that we approve them.
Motion from Commissioner Fawcett.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Satterfield. Any discussion? Please vote. That carries 4-0. Item number 3, I have a consideration of annexation C 220170. Ms. Farrell, do you have anything to present with that, or the attorney, or?
No real big presentation. We utilized the checklist provided by legal staff. We didn't find that it was in any violation of state statute regarding annexation. It is a 35-acre parcel, and it is contiguous to an existing subdivision that is currently under construction.
And where is this? Is it on, it's somewhere on Highway 9?
Highway 9, I believe it's right behind what is Thunder Ridge.
Oh, goodness. Oh,
Yeah, we did not have any tangible concerns.
and that's just for information.
It's just for information, as long as the board doesn't want to protest it. And from what the planning director says, we have no grounds for protest anyway, so, or to oppose it. So it's just an informational item only.
When he starts building, or if he does, I just want people to know it's in the city.
I know.
It's not in.
Item number 4, single bathroom for Rock Creek Park Splash Pad Pavilion. This will be voting to allow the Rotary Club to actually build the bathroom for us, and at no cost to us. And I know there was some discussion earlier about making sure there was no permit fees associated with that. So I don't know, will we need to include that in the motion, or since it's a county project, there wouldn't be any anyway?
Doesn't hurt to include it in the motion. Certainly the permit requirements are still valid, need to be followed, but it would be the fees that are being waived.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve single bathroom. It's Rock Creek Splash Park or Pad with the stipulation to waive all fees, but yet they have to be permitted and go by all county and state regulations, but the way the fees is said permit.
All right, I have a motion
Second.
and have a second. Any discussion? And just a point of clarification, that is for the Rotary to
Yes.
do it, so. All right, please vote. That passes 4-0. All right, item number 5, FYI 2022 Legacy Link Contract Addendum number 2. We heard from Don at our work session. And we're just looking to approve this contract addendum if the board so desires.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion from Commissioner Fawcett. Second from Commissioner Gaines. Any discussion? Please vote. That passes 4-0. Item number 6, we have the intergovernmental agreement between the city of Dawsonville and Dawson County concerning the distribution of local option sales tax, and the resolution approving the loss agreement with the city of Dawsonville. And I'm not going to read the entire resolution, but I will go through the percentage splits for the loss tax. It is, the county will get 86.12%. And the city will get 13.88 of the lost collections. And the city in the resolution will pay the county $400,000 for the purposes of the county to purchase an ambulance and equipping of the same. And that is basically what the lost agreement has boiled down to that we've come up with here. And this would be just to, we'd vote to approve it on our end. Then it would go to the, if we approve it, it goes to the city council for approval, and then it would, if they approve it the way it is, it would be, we'd sign it then. So is there a motion?
Motion to approve the resolution with the city on loss agreements.
Motion from Commissioner Satterfield,
Second.
second from Commissioner Fawcett. Any discussion? All right, please vote. That passes 4-0. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment at this section?
No, sir.
All right, thank you all for joining us here and at home, and with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.